Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. Today we are going to play a game called This or That. So I was tagged in this by Josh at Red Fury Books, and he was tagged by Bookish Chaz, and I believe Chaz is the creator here. And I love that he called this a game. At the end of his video, he was like, I am going to go ahead and tag a few people because that's what we do. We kind of create these prompts because we want to answer them ourselves, but also because we want to know what our friends' responses or answers would be as well. So he kind of turned it into a tag, but he called it a game, and I like that angle. So I'm going to play this game with those guys. And if you want to play along, play in the comments, or if you make videos about books, then feel free to tag yourself and play along. So this is a pretty simple one. It is literally a bunch of questions, and you just have to pick this or that. It sounds so simple, right? I have to overcomplicate everything. I can't just yes or no, this or that. I always want to ask more questions to follow up. I'm like, well, what's the whole scenario? Like, it's not as simple as this or that. I have more questions before I can answer your question. So that is entirely obnoxious, and I'm going to try my best not to do that in this tag. But I already feel myself wanting to, I don't know, just overcomplicate things. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those Instagram story little activities you can do where it has two columns of choices, and you're encouraged to just circle this or that. And it'll be things you like about fall, and it'll say Thanksgiving or Halloween or apple cider or hot cocoa. I simply cannot make myself do those because every time I'm like, I don't know, I like apple cider and hot cocoa. So I foresee this kind of getting tricky like that. But the reason I'm excited to do this is I do have quite a few new subscribers. Thank you guys. Welcome to the channel. And part of me thought, I feel like I talk about this stuff all the time. Everyone knows this about me, but not everybody, because there are quite a few new faces around here. So hello, and you can get to know me by suffering through this rambling video that I'm going to have fun with and hopefully is fun to watch as well. All right, let's jump straight in with the first question. All right, this or that, paperback or hardcover? Right off the bat, I take issue with this question because it's just not that simple. First of all, I collect books. So I love to acquire really beautiful hardcovers that look great on the shelf, feel good in your hand, have the whole experience of the dust jacket and what's it look like underneath, and are there maps and do they fold out? I love a good hardcover. But my reading preference when it comes to physical books is not always hardcover. So I'm going to show you some examples of good books and bad books, okay? Mostly good books, because I pulled my favorites here. So I'm bringing out this edition right here of Assassin's Apprentice because these are my favorite hardcovers. They lay flat really easily, and they have really nice binding and the spine. You don't have to worry about anything cracking. You can literally see the stitching holding them together. These are nice hardcovers. This is fun to read out of, but you do kind of have to do it at a table or a desk or something, because reading hardcovers in bed or on a comfy recliner, you're not as comfortable in your lap or holding them as they are on a table or a desk or something. So I do like a hardcover. Trade paperbacks are probably the best reading experience. I brought out two because I don't even care what size they are. They can be these really big floppy ones that are basically the size of a hardcover, just in a nice floppy trade paperback cover, or even these smaller ones. I don't like the way they line up on the shelf quite as well, but that's still a really nice reading experience, these kind of medium-sized trade paperbacks. But the mass markets, I'm just not a fan. I really don't like the way they look on my shelf quite as much, and it's just not as fun to read our big, thick fantasy books when you have to really, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I can't read these without cracking the spine. Or at least creasing the spine. And I know a lot of people do it, but for me, I feel like I can't see the inside of the pages unless I crank it open or curl it back. So I struggle reading from mass market paperback, but the worst is the tall, skinny mass market paperback. Who's asking for these? Where did this dimension idea come from? Who said, this is not what we want them to be tall and skinny instead? I don't like it. To me, that means more cranking, more cracking, more having to curl to get to the good stuff that's inside these long, skinny pages. So all that to say, this or that, paperback, I think. I don't know, hardcover to collect, paperback to read. That's what I'll say. All right, the next question I wrote down was Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. And I'll be honest, like, I'm not even sure why this is like a this or that question, because like they're not really in the same conversation. Like, I have a lot of love for Harry Potter. I mean, it's very, very dear to me. And I have so many amazing memories with Harry Potter. And Harry Potter is half of the reason I'm here and I'm still interested in fantasy. Let's give it its credit. But it is not even in the same realm or conversation as Lord of the Rings to me. So I am going to easily pick Lord of the Rings. With this or that, I don't have a trouble picking Lord of the Rings, but with no disrespect to Harry Potter. The next one I wrote down is asking book club or read alone. So I've never actually been a member of like an official book club, and I think that would be very, very fun. But I do partake in a lot of buddy reads and read-alongs and group reading projects and competitions, like my readathon right now. I enjoy community reading, but I don't know, there's nothing that really beats reading alone, because like that is kind of the point of reading, is that something you can do all by yourself. And I enjoy the community aspect of the read-alongs, but I'm not very good at actively participating the whole time, because when I'm reading and I get distracted if I stop and pick up my phone and, you know, type out what I've been thinking about each chapter and stuff. So I'm not a very good read-along participant. I'm better at kind of reading on my own and then jumping in and like reacting to other people's reactions or commenting and cheering people on. I make a better cheerleader, a veteran in a group, than I do a participant, because I just have a hard time expressing my thoughts while I'm reading something. Like, I'd rather read it to myself and then afterwards I get together and talk about it, if that makes sense at all. So as much as I love the community aspect of all of our read-alongs and buddy reads and stuff, I do think I'm a lone reader as far as pure enjoyment goes. Next up is print or audio, and something you should know about me is I am the queen of audiobooks. Like, I would say I am 85% audio. And when I audio, I do sometimes do immersive reading, which is eyes and ears together. I really, really enjoy that. But I would say probably at least 80% of my reading is audio only. Like I said, I love books, and it gives me a lot of anxiety to audio a book that I don't have access to physically. So most of the books I audio, I either own or borrow from the library, or at least have access to on Kindle or something, because I need that like safety net, I think, but I am probably 80% audio exclusive. Next question wants to know chapter length. Do I prefer long or short chapters? Since I am an audiobooker, it actually doesn't affect my experience much one way or the other. Because really, I put my headphones in, I push play, and I listen for as long as I'm able to listen to, or for as long as I want to listen to. And so I really don't pay much attention to chapter length. But typically, I've noticed that shorter chapters are usually associated with books that have like faster pacing. And a lot of times, longer chapters are paired with books that are more of a slow burn. So it really kind of depends on the author and what type of book I'm reading. But I would say maybe long chapters. But I do feel like every time I get a book that has short chapters and it has that like snappy pacing, it does feel like a breath of fresh air. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, finally a book with short chapters. So again, I think I like both, and it just really depends on my mood and what the book is and who the author is. This next one says real or ebook, and I think it's asking like print or ebook. So I've already established that I do primarily audio. I love reading physically as well, and ebook is definitely third favorite for me. It has so many perks. I love being able to highlight things and take notes and look up words if I don't know the definition, and I love how convenient it is to just like be able to take it with you and have access to so many books. So I have a lot of love for digital reading as well, but between print or ebooks, it's always going to be print for me as far as preference goes. The next question is asking, do I prefer to buy or borrow books? So I am a book collector and the proud curator of a home library that is a work in progress always. So I am team buy. I like to own my books. But I do borrow quite a bit of digital content, because to me that doesn't really matter whether I own it or not. So I use the library app. Libby is the one I use, and I get a lot of digital content for my Kindle, and I also borrow tons of audiobooks. So that has been a great option for me that I utilize quite a bit. The next question is asking about reading in bed or reading in a chair? Like, what's your preference when it comes to reading? And my favorite place to read is sitting in my bed, like an old queen or something. I don't know. I freaking love just sitting there with all the pillows propped up around me and like a little snack and a drink. I got my pillow in my lap. And sometimes I even have a clipboard or something like that. I need a lap desk is what I need. But I really do enjoy reading in bed. But it makes me so cozy and that makes me so tired. So I usually end up getting distracted in bed by a nap or turning on the TV or just doing something totally like brain dead cozy. So when I'm trying to pay attention and trying to get pages in, I do actually like sitting at the kitchen table late at night and reading at the table. So I'm gonna say in bed because it's my favorite, but it's not the most effective for me. This or that, library or bookstore. So my family does hang out at the library quite a bit because my kids love to go. So when we have time on the weekends, I'll take them and they'll stay for 2 or 3 hours and they will read and play on the computers and do all the like STEM activities. Our library is awesome. So I do go to the library quite a bit, but for me, my preference when it comes to atmosphere is definitely a bookstore. I love bookstores, whether it is a big box store like Barnes & Noble, like you walk in and oh my God, the smell of Barnes & Noble is so distinct. You got the coffee and the books and all bookstores smell good, but that one, I don't know, there's something magic in the air there. But I also love used bookstores. I love going to those places that feels like the walls are made of books and there's like an old lady and her cat and they've lived there for 100 years and she knows where everything is, but if you touch something, the whole place will bury you in books. Have you ever been to a bookstore like that? Because I have so many times. I love finding those stores and being like, I think I saw maybe 10% of what was in there and I could go in over and over again and entertain myself for the rest of my life. So I love a like chaotic, dusty old bookstore as well. So yeah, bookstore for me. Fiction versus nonfiction. It's gotta be fiction. Like I read to be transported. I read to feel like I'm not in the real world. I read for entertainment. That's my preference. That's what I'm going to pick for this or that. But I do have a lot of love for nonfiction. I try to read at least a few biographies or autobiographies every year. And I used to really love reading and audiobooking all kinds of personal development stuff. And I want to get back into it because it just makes me feel amazing to listen to something or to read something, but specifically to listen to it, to have someone tell you something that encourages you and builds you up and it's just like infusing positivity into your literally like right into my head. It's a great pick-me-up and I love the way those types of books make me feel. Like, you know, the ones I'm talking about, not just like straight self-help, but like personal development. Like you already know this, but let me frame it in a way that's inspiring and will make you get off your butt and do something, make some changes in your life. I love that kind of stuff. So I would like to get back into, you know, just a couple here and there because I think they're awesome and I definitely feel the benefit when I read them. And the last question is this or that, new or used books. And this is one that I'm not going to be able to decide on because of course I love new books. Like who doesn't like getting something that's brand new for them and shiny and smells good and looks pristine? Like that's a great experience. But there is something really special about the history and character that comes with a used book. And like I mentioned, I love going to used bookstores and there's just something really special about finding something that feels like a diamond in the rough. Like, and that does not mean it needs to be valuable or rare, but if you found it and you didn't even know you were looking for it and all of a sudden you're like, you're mine now, like you're coming to my house. I love finding used books. So I'm definitely a strong both on that one, if that's allowed. All right, everybody, that's it for the this or that game. I hope you had fun watching. Like I said, take these questions and do it below in the comments or turn the camera around and make your own video. Let's see it, you guys. If you decide to do this, tag me in your response so I can watch. Thank you for checking this video out and have a great day.